got
So,
it.
okay, so I told them to go on Zoom, but maybe somebody should monitor that because they're still going there.
Appreciate you sharing that, Margareta. Well, good morning. Good morning. How are we all doing this morning? I hope you guys have something to get this party started. Who's got some gratitude for us? Something that is going good in their world. That's how we like to start the show. That good of your lives are going that well? Who's got something?
I'm just grateful for the sunshine this morning. It's been kind of dreary around here, and the sun makes me happy, and I needed it. And I know that all you Florida people are like, "What is she talking about? We live in this," but it's very nice for us right now.
The sunshine is nice. I am a strict morning routine guy, and man, it just is different when you're getting up, going to the gym, and it is just pitch black out. So, versus you get out of your house and that sunshine hits you, and I don't know, it just can motivate you and give you a little energy boost. So, I'm with you, KB. I'm with you. Who's got something going on in one of their real estate deals or something they came across that'd be a good share for this show? What'd you learn yesterday, or what are you struggling with? All your deals are going so smooth. While you guys are thinking, I will share with you. I did a little bit of research, talked to our friend Brian Pronka, and I did dig up a nice little picture for you guys of what a cesspool is, and also just going to kind of explain when you're looking at a property and trying to understand septic versus tight tank versus cesspool and what the kind of the differences are, a really easy way to think about it. So we talked about this yesterday, right? Typically looking something like this, a layer of bricks or stone or something where waste is going into this pit, and then the water is just kind of seeping out, and it's using the ground as a filter. Okay, so that's what your cesspool is. You can actually pass a Title V. So Title V is required. So you're going to hire an inspector. They're going to go out. They're going to take a look at it. The guidelines are really, really strict to get these to pass. You could no longer install one. I think the laws changed in the 70s where they stopped allowing you to do it. But prior to the 70s, this was actually pretty common practice, is putting a pit like that in. So I'm going to scroll up a little bit on my share, and I know this is going to be tough for some of you guys, especially if you're driving, but here's kind of what a system is going to look like in your yard, right? You got plumbing coming out of your property, then you have some sort of a tank. So the one that you're looking at on your screen, this is an actual septic tank, and this is what it would look like. So yesterday we talked about tight tanks, and we talked about these cesspools. So basically replace tight tank or cesspool with this section right here on the image. And that's where the system would end. So if there's a cesspool, right, you've got a round a pit right here with bricks, and it's going to filter everything down out through the soil into the groundwater. And then if you're using a well, that's the water that you're going to be drinking, which obviously isn't a great situation, but it's better than nothing. If you had a tight tank, there'd be no, think of a cesspool as basically a tight tank with holes in it. So if you had a tight tank, you've just got a tank here. It doesn't go out into the soil. The soil doesn't filter it. And so it contains it much better and better for your groundwater, et cetera. So regulations have about 4 feet between the bottom of a cesspool and your groundwater, or 4 feet between the bottom of your leach field and your groundwater. So on the septic here, it comes into these tanks, the solids and liquids get separated, and then the liquid goes out into a gravel trench through your filtration, back into your groundwater. If you were using a well, that water should be drinkable. And I guess this is tested, that 4 feet gets tested at a U.S. Military base, according to Brian. So big shout out to Brian Pronka. He spent probably 30 minutes with me on the phone yesterday, gave me some good visuals for you guys. So if you are in the area and you want to take advantage of Brian's services, I'd highly recommend him. And we're probably going to bring him on the show to go and do a deep dive at some point in the future. But anybody have any questions now that we think we got a better understanding septic, cesspool, and tight tank and how they all intertwine? Any questions? Making sense? Cool. And hopefully you can see how important it is. You know, we talk about the issues with the septics when they're close to a well. I want to say the ruling, and maybe somebody knows off the top of their head, that when you're in a tight situation, I think you need 100 feet between your leach field and your well. And I believe some financing is going to have a requirement that that's the distance between it. And I don't know that there's any exceptions that are going to allow for a shorter distance. Anybody have any knowledge there? Have you dealt with something where you've got a well that's close to the septic system? Is 100 feet the number?
100 feet is the number, Steve.
That's definitely the number. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other comments? Is there a way to get it to 50 or something? I feel like there is a way, if X is happening, you can do it with 50, or maybe it's a certain type of financing that allows it at 50.
I had something recently where it was was the case. They had already put it in, I mean, years and years ago, and they didn't require them to move it. It was FHA financing. I'm not sure how we got around it, but I do know it's possible. I just closed on that last year.
And it was less than the 100, Shaston?
Yeah, I think it was 75, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I felt like there was some way, some exception, something that you have to qualify for in order to be able to get that shorter distance.
I've had that too, where it was just grandfathered in because previously it wasn't 100 feet. So if it was put in before that changed, it was, I don't think there was anything extra we had to do either. It was a while ago. I can't remember, but I don't remember doing anything specific. I think just because it was installed before the laws changed that it had to be 100 feet, we were good to go.
Awesome.
So I had one over the summer. It was 97 feet, so it was less than 100, and we had to do a water test, a pretty extensive water test, to prove that there was no issue with, any of the septic stuff getting into the well.
So maybe that's what it is you've got to show via a water test. Because as you can see, when we were looking at that diagram, that's the real concern, is if you don't have enough separation between that leach field or that cesspool and your groundwater, you're drinking contaminated water. So. I got a new little feature. I can actually bring your, can I do it? I can bring your little comments up onto the screen like that. So if you guys are in a position where you're not able to comment via the voice, throw something in the comment section. I can actually pull it right up into the broadcast. And, if you have some details or you wanted to share a link or something, put it in the comments, and I'll try and bring those up on the recording as well.
So Steve, I just checked real quick, and it says it's 100 feet from the leach fields, 50 from the septic, and 10 from a foundation on a property. Exceptions will be made for ones that were built prior to certain.
Awesome. And don't we just love when I got myself a little built-in assistant that's doing fact checking behind the scenes. I love it. Thank you so much. All right, who else has got something going on one of their deals? Let's get off of the septic conversation. Who's got something going on that you're just curious about, or you learned something? What do you got? Margaretta, is your hand up?
Yes, it is.
All right, well, I got to fix that. Why am I not seeing that hand very well? Go ahead.
So I don't know who've heard this, but I thought it was kind of an interesting tidbit. Apparently, if you use a thumbs up emoji, in Canada there was a lawsuit that could be construed as agreement to the contract, and it's a legal agreement. So that is a Canada ruling, but I thought it was interesting, and I guess something to consider. What kind of emojis you guys are sending?
That's different. I have not heard that. Anybody else want to comment on our need to be careful with our emojis, that we could be agreeing to? Has anybody heard something like this?
The judge considered that. I mean, there was a more circumstantial case around this, but in terms of like how they proved, but it actually a thumbs up emoji in that case construed agreements to a real estate deal. I think it was a real estate deal too.
Yeah, well, I mean, one thing that I do want to make sure everybody understands, because I've been to a bunch of these kind of broker, keep your agents out of jail classes. And one of the things that they talk about agreements and contracts is ideally, yes, we want everything to be in writing and both parties have signed. But the case law that they were talking about actually explains that if both parties think they're going in a certain direction by the actions that are being taken by both parties, that can be construed as we've got ourselves an agreement and we're moving forward, right? So, kind of the example that they give is we've got an offer signed by the buyer, and then we've got a seller signs the offer too. We're moving into purchase and sale. For some reason, seller signs the purchase and sale first. Buyer does not sign purchase and sale, but buyer drops off a deposit. And now the deal keeps going, and then the buyer is trying to back out down the road for whatever issue, and then they are trying to lean on the fact that, oh, we didn't sign that purchase and sale, right? And so the courts are looking at it, go, no, you didn't, but you signed the offer, right? Then you gave your deposit, right? All parties here believe that you're moving forward. So just keep that in mind. It doesn't necessarily just go by letter of the law. I didn't sign that. I'm not committed to that. And obviously, there's a lot of different circumstances that are coming into play here. What other things? You went forward, you did your inspection, right? You ordered the appraisal. All of these things were happening. Yeah, you didn't sign that one doc, right? And maybe it's not even a purchase and sale. Maybe it's some other extension or something. But you were taking actions as if you're moving forward in the transaction, leading the other party to believe you want to move forward. And it's not just on the buy side, this could be on the seller side too.
So I believe in contract law, they consider that offer, consideration, and fairness. So I think if you have those like three things, that makes it a legal contract.
Yeah. So I think every jurisdiction is probably going to be a little bit different, and the laws, and especially the real estate laws, could be different in every state. But just keep in mind, if it acts like they're moving, it smells like they're moving forward, right? They're moving forward. So be careful when you're representing your clients. Who else has got something? Good share, Margareta. What else do we have out there? I don't know what kind of real estate deals you guys are doing, but when I was in production, man, I had a fire going every single day. It seemed like nothing ever just went smooth. There was always some sort of a fire. So no matter how big or how small you think your issue is, we'd love to have you share it here on the call, because somebody's going to learn something. So Margareta, go ahead. You had your coffee this morning. I love my coffee drinkers.
Oh, yes. You got it. Plus, I always got something going on. It's just a question of piping it up. Listen, I am curious, and I know this might be a great question for tomorrow with the legal guys on. Financial guys on. But I am in the process of doing a cash loan deal. So I was wondering if anybody has had that experience, because it's like it's a deal on drugs. Because technically it's you can make an offer as a cash deal, but technically the finance company is buying the property for the buyer, then they're selling it back to the buyer. But it's a great option, to offer as a cash offer for the buyer. But then if you have like a double where they're selling their property, which is actually a great option as a loan for that kind of scenario, because it gives you a bit of a gap where, once they have a little bit of time to move into that new home and vacate the other home. But I guess it's just so many moving parts. I was wondering if anybody done that kind of deal and any advice around it, because I'm just starting this and my head is spinning.
So Margaret, I just want to clarify here. You've got the buyer in this situation?
Correct. So actually, they're buying a house and they're also selling their house.
Right. And so there's a bunch of these services that have come up. I mean, it was done with hard money in the past, but now there are services specifically for this. Hey, you're in a difficult buyer's market. We want you to be able to write cash offers. I tell you what, we will write, you'll use our cash. We'll buy your house behind the scenes. We're going to buy it at a discount, right? They got to make money, right? But we will give you the cash.
No, this is actually a loan. So it's through a regular lender. And lenders are having now programs. It's called like a cash, whatever. I don't want to be specific, but and they get pre-approved, and they're like, if they qualify for this program, it's going through that lender. So it's not a hard cash deal. It's not extra interest. It's a really cool program, but it's a lot of moving pieces.
Yeah, but the reality is they're getting financing behind the scenes.
Well, so they have to sell that. So they have to sell their house, and it just kind of they pay off that mortgage on the first house. So of course, lenders are making money on this, but like the lenders decided to give them the overlap, and they're making money on that. But it's still worth it.
Right, and just so I'm clear, I write the cash offer in this scenario. And there's no contingencies, there's no finance contingency. The loan company is guaranteeing that they're going to do this deal in cash.
Yes, because they so the buyer has to be like vetted or pre-approved, and and you need to also tell them prior, preferably, what property it is, so they can do like technically their analysis if it's worth, based on the equity that the current buyer has in their current property. It's just like I'm saying, there's just so much going on there. It's like,
Lauren,
6 times buy and sell.
Yeah, Lauren, I see your hand up.
Yeah, so Margaret, I hear a couple times, right, the fact that they have to sell as well. So it really feels and everything like you're explaining that that's a really big piece of it. Because it sounds like they're pulling the equity plus paying off what their current is to be able to actually have the capital for the next one. And then, kind of like a refi back into an actual loan after the property's closed. If you can find out the actual name of the program, right, we can dig a little bit more into the back end of it and ask Finance Friday tomorrow.
Well, yeah, this is through NAF Cash program. That's what it is, NAF Cash program, and it's pretty impressive. I haven't seen anything like that. But it's a lot of things going on because the property has to get technically pre-up, like they do appraisal, kind of a spot check appraisal, they call it, and they might consider asking for appraisal during contingencies. It's just it's a lot of work for me.
So Leslie, I see your comment. Are you in a position to chat? Have you done one of these? You're muted if you're trying to go. But Leslie had just put in the chat here that it's actually, I think she might not be on the Zoom call. I think she's watching on Facebook now that I understand how these comments come in. But she's talking about it's a cash for keys loan. And she said Annie Mac had a program like that. So yeah, interesting. Definitely, let's bring it up on the call tomorrow. So for those of you guys who haven't been on Fridays, we do a Finance Friday. We've got a preferred lender on here, and we'll definitely see if we can get to the bottom of this one. So great topic, Margareta. Thanks for bringing that one. Anybody else done something like this? So the program that I was thinking about it's a done deal. They come in, they make you an offer on your property. I can't think of it. If anybody knows the name and you could put it in the chat, that would be great. It's I think it's like Homeward or Homebound or something like that is one of the companies that does this. So, you got a $500,000 house. Maybe they're going to give you a $470,000 for it. So they're structuring that deal behind the scenes. You are now going to be able to offer cash on your next property. right? So you don't have to find a buyer or worry about finding a buyer for your property. They are going to buy it. They guarantee the buy. And now you can go and write cash, no home sale contingency or anything like that. So these are, if you absolutely know, hey, I want this property, I want to come in strong with my offer, and I don't mind losing a little bit of money on my house, these companies are really, really good for that. And then I believe some of them will still allow you, if you want, you can put it on the market afterwards. You could sell it afterwards. You don't have to sell to them. They're going to just turn around and sell it as well. So I think they can, some of these companies will partner with a real estate agent to then relist that property after they've purchased it. And hopefully, they're looking to make a little bit of money on it. So I don't know if anybody's been through one of those or used one of those services and you'd like to talk us through it. I know they exist, but I haven't personally. Lauren? Is your hand lagging?
I found the quick info on the other one that
Let's do
Margareta
it.
was talking about.
My research assistant, I love it.
So NAF Cash buys your home upfront with cash, then sells it back to you at the original price plus a convenience fee that can be rolled into that financing once you're ready to move in with a permanent financing option. If you need to move in before selling your current home, they will rent that home that they bought for you back to you while you sell your old one or finalize any financing that you need. Says you can close quicker. You have up to 90 days to sell your existing home. And it just says typically utilizing cash for purchasing a property will get you a better deal. That's one of their, but there's a whole website on it.
Yeah, that's the one.
Anybody else want to add to the conversation here? Anybody used one of these companies?
I just wanted to see it. Sorry, is this like something local or state specific, or is this a nationwide thing? I have a client that this would actually work perfect for.
Yeah, it's a nationwide thing, definitely. What was the full name of it? Just go to NAF funding anywhere online and you're gonna find it. There was a ton that came up real quickly.
Awesome, thank you.
You're welcome. New American Funding.
Anybody else want to chat on this topic? Have you done one of these cash for keys? Have you used one of these programs? Would love to hear your experience if you have. All right, we got time for one more topic. Somebody have something else going on that you want to share with the group? All right, well, I have a, we're going to try a little screen share here. We'll finish up with this thought. We'll see how this does. So we've all heard of the concept of the 5 people that you spend the most time with is really going to kind of influence who you are and who you can possibly become. This is the first time I had actually heard some data around it. So hopefully we can hear this.
Study blew my mind. It's 58,000 working hours over 11 different companies. So a huge amount of data. They wanted to know if low performers infect the people around them and if high performers infect the people around them. What they found was if you sit within 25 feet of a high performer, your own performance improves by 15%. Here's the kicker. If you sit within 25 feet of a low performer, your own performance decreases by 30%. This means that our negative emotions are more contagious, that if you're around people who are low performers, whatever that means to you, who have negative cues, who are feeling anxious or tired or low confident, you could catch those cues and that affects your own performance. This is why it is incredibly critical to invest in the 5 people who you spend the most time with. You want to make sure those 5 people are the cues you want to catch. Do you like the cues they're sending? Do they give you the right motivation, feelings? Do they make you feel liked? Do they make you a better version of yourself?
So, what do we think? Has anybody seen any kind of data like this? You know, I think, and I'm trying to make this the best way to start your day in real estate. And I believe that the group of people that we're attracting to this call, the people that are trying to level up their game, the people that are coming with shares, that they're sharing their experiences, even when it was something where they made a mistake. Like, these are the things, being open, being honest, being willing to grow and learn, and being in a community like this, I really think is affecting how the rest of your day goes. Right? I really, really do. And so I love when you guys are coming and you're being vulnerable. Those are some of our best shares that we get is, hey, you know what? I messed this up on my deal, right? I put my buyer in jeopardy. I didn't represent my seller in the best possible way. And I don't want this to happen to another agent. You know, when you're coming every morning and that's how you're starting your day, man, that is going to rub off on what's happening for the rest of the day. So, I think we'll wrap with that. Did anybody want to make a specific comment on it? Lauren, your hand was up again, or is that just lagging from before?
Sorry, still just up.
Get your hand down. All right, let's wrap like we always do. We'll go one more screen share. Just want to show you the calendar of training that we have available today. And kind of like I just said, take a training, learn something, come back tomorrow and share it with us. A couple of different options today. There's a new agent starter series that's available in the Real Agent Society. So this one here, in this Mastermind Discuss style class, take the greatest nonfiction business building books in the world, read them together, and ask important questions. So if you're somebody that loves to read, this would be an interesting class. This is like an ongoing thing, kind of like a book club for real estate agents and business builders. So pretty interesting stuff there. So lots of engagement. I'm still figuring out how to stream this thing and get everybody's comments in, so I appreciate you guys bearing with me on that stuff. If you're watching us on social media and you want to be able to join live and get involved in the call, we do that via Zoom, and you can get the links in my bio and everything like that. So appreciate you guys. Go crush your Thursdays, and we'll be back here tomorrow for Finance Friday. Take care.
Thanks, Dave.